Hi, I wanted to make this video because I've been thinking, and this time I've been thinking about happiness. So I've been thinking about happiness because it must be one of the most important subjects that there is, but I want to know if I've got any control over how happy I am. Are we born with our level of happiness or can we change it? Are there some secrets to happiness? And if there are, I want to know what they are. So I think this subject deserves some attention. Well, I've noticed that some people definitely seem happier than others. So why is that? Is it just down to life circumstances or personality? Or are there things that happy people do that we can all learn from? So I thought I'd start by trying to understand what happiness actually is. It's a common word and it sounds simple enough, but still I found myself struggling a little bit to define what it actually means. It definitely is a positive thing, and it seems to be connected to feelings like contentment and joy. So I tried paying attention to what feels like my own happiness levels, and I noticed that they can fluctuate quite a lot throughout the course of a day, even though my life circumstances stay the same. I also noticed that my interactions with other people can have quite an impact. So maybe day-to-day happiness is influenced by your surroundings and your activities, but does the same apply to longer-term happiness? So when I tried to think about my long-term happiness, I started to think of bigger things that were more outside of my control, like whether me and my family and my friends are all well, whether my life is going in a good direction and feel successful, that sort of thing. And if I am lucky enough to have a successful life with good health for everyone, will that actually bring me lasting happiness? It sounds good, so it might do, but from the things I've learnt while looking into this, it seems that the level of happiness won't be because of those things. It's more likely to be connected to how I feel about those things, which seems to be the important difference. So if you think about it like that, it doesn't seem to matter as much what the things are. It's more to do with the attitude and the perspective of the person. So in some ways that seems like bad news, because I'm not sure I want to let go of the idea that getting my dream house will bring me everlasting happiness. But at the same time, I do quite like the idea that I don't have to pin everything on that. It's still good to have goals in life, and I'm not planning to let go of mine, but I am starting to believe that happiness isn't directly related to getting the things that you think you want. Instead, it seems that happiness is much closer and more achievable than those big life goals. So I think overall it is good news. The attitude and perspective are the things that truly bring happiness. And they do sound much more within my control, but how do I work on them? Interestingly, it seems that having some challenges and problems in your life appears to be quite helpful for this. The cat there again. But yeah, that seems quite contradictory in a way, but having problems and challenges tends to bring a different perspective on life. So I guess that makes sense that if you have a genuine awareness from real life experiences that things could be worse, it's likely to be more impactful than just trying to imagine that things could be worse. I'm sure nobody wants to hope for challenges and problems in life, but it's an interesting thought that we could work on viewing those challenges more positively, and try to take some comfort from knowing that the difficult things that come along in life could actually one day enhance our future happiness. So like a lot of people, I do have challenges in my life. So I think it's quite refreshing to be able to view them in a different way. So I'm planning to hold on to that thought, and when I need to, I'll remind myself that the challenges are likely to make me happier in the end. So, challenges aside, how do we work on our attitude and our perspective? So the good news is, from all the reading and researching that I've done on the subject, I've narrowed it down to 4 main themes that do seem to be the most impactful for building the right attitude and perspective for long-term happiness. And the even better news is that they're easy and they're available to anyone who's willing to do a little bit of work. So let's take a look at each of them in a bit more detail. Hello, cat. So the first one is gratitude. There really seems to be a strong connection between gratitude and happiness. And although it might be easier to be grateful when things are going well, it is possible for any of us to feel more grateful just by giving a bit more focus to the subject and putting some conscious thought into being grateful for the things you already have in your life. You know, you might be striving for more, and that's okay, but you can still be grateful for the things that you already have, or be grateful for the suffering that you don't currently have in your life. You know, if you can find a way to turn around any thoughts of poor me into thoughts of lucky me, you're on the right track. You know, it's really all about choosing where to focus your attention and choosing to be grateful. So for me, you know I would quite like a different house, but I'm definitely grateful for the one that I have. You know, it feels warm and safe, and I know not everyone has that in their life. So, you know, I'm grateful for that, and I've got plenty of other things that I could be grateful for too. So, you know, I'm going to keep a list that I can continue adding to help me focus more on gratitude. So the next one is also something that you can choose to do with just a little bit of effort, and that is choosing to live with hope. So hope is really powerful emotion, and just like gratitude, it is within our control. You know, we can choose to hope that tomorrow or next week or next month will bring good things, you know, and we can choose to hope that our current challenges will make us stronger in the end. You know, if I look back at some of my challenges, I can see that there does seem to be a link with having a better perspective on life. You know, we can't know what the future will bring, but it does seem clear that by choosing to live with hope, it's likely to have a better impact on long-term happiness. So I'm choosing to hope that my future is going to be a happy one, and I also hope that these tips are going to help me along the way. So the next important theme is having a purposeful or meaningful life. So what does that mean? So I think for most people, that means being able to use your skills, abilities, or time to be able to serve other people. So, you know, maybe just pause there for a think about that, and, you know, what could that mean for you? Maybe it could mean caring for someone else, a friend or family member. Maybe it could mean having a job that involves helping other people. Or maybe it's as simple as just trying to brighten someone else's day with a smile or a kind word. I think the underlying message really is that a self-serving life is not one that will bring happiness. So for me, you know, I've been raising children for a long time, but that's coming to an end. I have a job where I help people, but that will also eventually come to an end. So what will I do then? You know, if I don't find something else purposeful and meaningful, I might be risking my future happiness. So I need to keep that in mind. You know, I want my videos to help other people. So if they do, I know I'll find meaning in that. I also read actually that working towards specific goals can give purpose and meaning. So maybe setting some goals, even around helping other people, you know, that could be a double win. The final theme that has stood out as being connected to long-term happiness is having plans for the future that you're looking forward to. Again, this is something that's probably within your control. It just needs a bit of effort to put in place. It's good to have a mix of short-term and long-term plans and to keep them in your mind and think about how much you're looking forward to them. I'm looking forward to my weekend plans, and I'm also looking forward to visiting some family in a couple of weeks. So I'll make a point of putting a bit more energy into looking forward to those things. And I'm grateful that I've been able to make those plans, and I'll be hoping to have a great time. So those are the main themes to work on. And I have to say, I've really enjoyed this subject, and I've been pleased to find out that I can relate to all of those themes and they feel like they're within my control. I always like things to feel realistic, and it does feel realistic to be able to put a bit more effort into each of those areas. So I'm planning to be more grateful and more hopeful every day. I still have purpose and meaning from my family and my job, but I'm finding new purpose and meaning from making my videos. I really do like digging into these interesting subjects and then sharing what I find with other people. In terms of making plans for the future, I do generally do that, but I probably don't spend as much time looking forward to them as I could. So that's an area that I'll work on, with just a few simple reminders maybe. So I know I said there were 4 themes, but actually I want to add another one that feels quite important to me, even though I don't think I found it during my research, and that is laughing. I love to be around people who make me laugh. I like trying to make other people laugh, and I like to watch things that make me laugh. So, sharing a laugh with someone can really lift my whole day. So I hope that I can carry on finding fun in everyday things as I get older. So I'm not sure if that falls into a category of something that can be worked on, but I'm adding it to my list anyway, so that I can remember how important it is to me. So I feel really motivated now to give these things a try. And to be honest, I've been trying out some of them already while I've been doing the research for this video, and it's been fun. It almost feels like it doesn't matter what it does for long-term happiness when it can work straight away and bring a good feeling today. But I can honestly say that I've put the effort into researching this, and I believe that if we focus on those things, we're likely to have a happier future. So I think it's worth giving a try. I've been repeating those themes to myself over and over, to try and really bed them in. So I'll give you a reminder as well. So be grateful, not just for the good stuff, but for the challenges. Be hopeful, choose to live with optimism. Serve others. Think about what you can do for other people, even small things like giving someone a genuine compliment. And make plans for the future that you can look forward to, and make a point of looking forward to them. Even if it's just looking forward to your dinner, it all counts. So I'm writing those things down so that I can really make a commitment to myself that I'm going to do this, and I'll make sure to list specific ways that I'm going to be grateful, be hopeful, serve others, and make plans for the future to look forward to. And then when I get my dream house, I will take my happiness with me, and I'll try to remember that it's the size of the gratitude, not the size of the house, that really makes the difference for long-lasting happiness. So, going back to the original question, have I discovered the secret to happiness? Well, maybe I have, but I guess time will tell. I do feel confident that I've uncovered some useful tips and that I'm planning to use them. And I'll make a point of revisiting them for a few minutes every day so that I can make it a habit. So I hope you've taken something useful from this video, and I'm wishing you happiness now and in the future. But I think that's it for this time. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.